So I'm outside the El Capitan Theatre, which is the Disney cinema in Hollywood, but I'm right across from the Oscars, where they're playing at the red carpet in the Dolby Theatre, where the Oscars will take place on Sunday night. They're doing all the setup now and getting it all ready for the big night. This is also the Hollywood Walk of Fame, where all the stars are listed on the ground as well. So yeah, there's Burt Reynolds. This goes on for about 3 miles down the walkway as well. So cool. On a very wet and rainy Wednesday in Hollywood.
Hello, you're listening to Right So, Off We Go, the podcast where you'll get the inside track on destinations worldwide. I'm Ailish Ford, and today we're off to Los Angeles, where of course this week the Oscars have been happening. In the days leading up to the awards, I caught up with Dubliner Steven Davenport. During our conversation, he talks to me about the films he thinks capture the atmosphere of the city.
Chinatown is got to be number one in a sense. How water has shaped LA and how that, they're owning the water, the rights to the aqueducts, the kind of, it's what's being built around, and LA is technically a desert. How the water system is shaped, and Chinatown is no better way of showing that. I think modernly, I think La La Land has got it's such a homage to LA, and it uses the backdrop of Los Angeles, but it's also the people, the culture as well. It's just, I love it. The way they open on the traffic jam and the freeway. It just, there's nothing that kind of resonates LA life than we're not all singing and dancing and music all the time.
He tells me about the array of cuisines on offer.
It's what you're in the mood for. As I said, the Korean barbecue is unbelievable here. There's Koreatown, but there's also not in just the specific areas. It spreads out. There's a Chinatown part of the city as well. There's the Japanese part of the city. Like, you can get all those kind of specific cuisines and those cultures there. But everywhere you go, every local area, every local neighborhood has fantastic variety of food. I personally love Mexican food, and it's the one thing we don't have good in Ireland compared to here, where it's phenomenal. I think it's the freshness of the avocados, the freshness of that kind of orange fruits as well. But even the local supermarket you can get fresh tamales, which are made with the corn, and the tacos are just unbelievable. But also sushi is unbelievable here as well.
And chats about something people don't expect to find in LA.
I expected to become moving to a big city, which not seeing anything. The amount of animals and different things I never thought I'd see. I've seen a badger in the back garden, a skunk. We have a skunk that lives in the local neighbourhood that you could get to smell before you see him. You see hawks flying through the sky. The sea life as well, dolphins, whales. There's a migration pattern that comes along this time of year. They're coming back up from the Mexico Gulf, coming up along by the sea there. So I've seen hummingbirds in the garden, like coyotes you see quite often as well.
We started our conversation with Stephen telling me how he finds living in LA and how he came to be there.
It's very recognisable. I've been travelling, coming out for work a couple of times. There's constantly places that you recognise. Go, oh, that's in such and such from Toronto. Yeah, so it's very. We've seen it a lot of times all over the world. It's a very recognisable city, which is good. So yeah, I came out here in September 21. I worked for Screen Ireland, which is the national development agency for the screen industry in Ireland. And we opened an office out here, and I have the very difficult job of running that office and promoting Ireland internationally for as a filming destination. Yeah.
Still, I'd say it's a good time to be doing that, isn't it? Given the reputation of Ireland at the moment in film.
Well, we've always had a very strong reputation. We've been doing international productions for a long, long time. In fact, the very first Hollywood production that was filmed outside Hollywood was filmed in Ireland back in 1910. So we've been at this forever. One of the longest international partners for Hollywood. And it's just going from strength to strength over the years. We're very consistent and very strong government support in the industry. We have a fantastic tax break. We have amazing locations. We have a great expertise, and we've got a great facility for the industry. So that's why we've been a big partner and a very strong candidate for international production locating in Ireland, and also our own talent and our own expertise going internationally as well. We've a number of people up for Oscars every year. We've a number of Irish actors for Oscars or different disciplines across the Oscars as well. From editors last year as well. From our own film, The Quiet Girl, even made it into the Oscars in the international section last year. So we've a very, very strong reputation.
Yeah, fantastic. And tell me, Stephen, what do you find is the main difference between living in LA and living in Ireland?
Well, I would have said expense. It's one of the things as well. But I think nowhere is very cheap anymore in the sense to live. But I think one of the things like that as well. And I find it quite difficult when it first came out. Irish people are very welcoming and we're very friendly and very, we chat to everybody and everybody likes to hear what people are doing. And it's not quite like that out here in a sense. It's also what LA is compared to Dublin is it's like 5 cities strung together. So you've got this massive spread out. There's very little public transport. So it's not like you can go down the local pub and see people that you know. It misses that kind of quality that Ireland has. And I think that's where I find it a little bit kind of, when I say cold, but very kind of not a very, it's not very welcoming in a sense. And it's kind of thing like that at the beginning. But then you find your own neighbourhood, your own area, and it becomes a much more a place where people are very friendly. There's a bit more reservedness, which I think you find in bigger cities. I think London would be similar in some other parts of the town as well. It's just that people are always cautious about first getting to know you. Whereas in Ireland, I don't think we are. I think we're very welcoming and very open to people straight away, immediately. And I think that's a little bit that takes a little bit longer here.
And of course, it's everything is bigger, isn't it? So lots more people. All of that has to be different.
Yeah, I think my son was coming out to LA and he was like kind of trying to work it out. And he goes, everything's bigger. The roads are bigger. The motorways are bigger. The cinemas are bigger. The when you buy food, it's like bigger. It's like a whole different thing. There's an extra, even a juice at a cinema is like, it's a litre bucket of, popcorn. There is definitely a bigger scale.
Okay. And you mentioned expense. So is the cost of living expensive there?
Yes. It's there's different things would be very expensive, but I think a glass of wine could cost $20 in a restaurant or in a bar, that kind of stuff, that kind of scale. So that it's a very different kind of thing to what would be in Ireland. And the culture is very different. People go for food rather than going out for drinks. In a sense, it seems to be it's a different way that we would go to the pub in Ireland, or there'll be a social scene around that kind of stuff. People would come and have one or two maybe in here, and then that would be that would be it. It's not a sit there for the evening and get relaxed and settled in. So in that way, it's quite different. Yeah. But there is a very big eating out culture here where cafes, restaurants, people are constantly, there's constant queues outside cafes, bars, restaurants, for people sitting out. It's a very social scene of eating out, meeting people for food and quite different in that way to Ireland. That although Ireland's becoming, strange like that in the last number of years as well.
So, Stephen, listeners will know that I always ask my guest to choose a book, film and music that gives a sense of the city we're visiting. So what book would you say captures the atmosphere of LA?
So the Raymond Chandler books, right, that were written, I think in it's quite a while ago, 60s. Actually, they're a lot longer older than that, 50s, I think. Yeah. They've been turned into many movies as well, so it kind of spreads it as well. But I think what you capture in his book, I remember reading one of the first ones and I was going, it was all about rain and about it doesn't rain here. There's no rain. And then, of course, it does finally rain. And this year and last year especially, we've had a lot of rain. And it will rain for 3 days solid. And the streets become rivers. It doesn't deal with rain. And because the ground's so solid from being so dry all the time, it's like when we get snow in Ireland. That's the way to describe it. That when it rains here, it becomes like snow in Ireland. There's landslides. There's, places fill up. There's streets become actual full rivers. It gets become quite dangerous for flash floods. And so it becomes this whole, it's a big deal here when it rains. And we've got quite a bit of it last year and this year. They call them atmospheric storms, which they have this, they call rivers they're called rivers in the sky, and they basically come down and basically like a river is flowing through the sky for a few days. It's something to be seen. So those books describe that weather kind of thing, and I think that they are dated as well in some other way as well. But I think most recently I've read Tomorrow, which is a book, which is a fantastic book, and it really. There was a lovely piece in it where they're describing where there's a secret road system for the executives in the studio system as well. And I was kind of looking around as I drive around, but I think that's a really good descriptive of a more modern day thing as well.
I loved that book, I have to say. And now, of course, we're in the home of the movie business, or you are rather. So it's probably tough choosing a film but what film would you say?
It's nearly impossible. I'm going to have to say a few titles to you here as well, because I think you've got to go, okay, I think Chinatown is got to be number one in a sense for what built up LA and how how water has shaped LA and how that, they're owning the water, the rights to the aqueducts, the kind of, it's what's being built around, and LA is technically a desert, how the water system is shaped. And Chinatown is no better way of showing that film. I think modernly, I think La La Land has got it's such a homage to LA, and it uses the backdrop of Los Angeles, but it's also the people, the culture as well. It's just, I love it. The way they open on the traffic jam and the freeway. It just, there's nothing that kind of resonates LA life than we're not all singing and dancing the musical all the time as well. Yeah, so the La La Land as well for a more modern day twist. The way the locations are used, the studio system, and everywhere it is the kind of thing that every second person that you meet is working within the screen industry over here. Like we've neighbours who work there. It's just anyone you get to know, there's kind of some form of connection, whether it be through music or through or through working physically on the thing, or writing or directing or wanting to be an actor. There's just always a connection to the screen industry. That's why I think La La Land is a great kind of homage to the industry and what Hollywood is and what it's been built up around. Yeah, now it has changed over the years, where it's more becoming more tech and becoming more, there's the other side to it as well. But there's definitely at the central heart of Los Angeles is Hollywood in the system as well. If I could mention one TV series which I find just sums up LA, so
absolutely, yeah,
Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yes.
Going around and living LA, it is, and because LA has got some very different than Ireland, that we always go about rules and about things like that. There's definitely some nuances around. It just seems so ridiculous in certain times. I think Larry captures that of being, having lunches out, the cafe scene that's out. He captures all of that in the TV series, but also all those kind of silly rules or silly things that are set in the system over here, because it needs rules. It's got one of the biggest populations of a city, and it needs to be needs to be managed. But there's no. Irish people like to bend the rules a little bit, I think, and we like to go, go on in there, it's grand. Whereas that's not allowed out here. The rule is a rule, and that has to be
okay.
So there's a bit of a If you park the wrong way on the street, you get a parking fine, and literally there's no talking your way out of it.
That's it. And then, what about music, Stephen? Is there any music that defines the place, do you think?
So I've had the pleasure of being up to the Hollywood Bowl, and I've been to the Greek, and there's a charity gig that's run every year over here as well, which had Neil Young and Crosby, Stills and Nash, some of the guys from that, and it's just, and Willie Nelson played, and you kind of get this history of going back to that time. And what I loved is that I was one of the youngest, but I had that generation of the 60s Californian kind of, the hippie movement and stuff as well, and people like every second guy had a ponytail and long hair, but yet they were in their 60s and 70s and 80s, and and it was that kind of that still was the bedrock of what it was here. And then the Beach Boys, of course, with Manhattan Beach just located just south of LA, and the surf scene, and then you got in the scene is just endless, because then you got the rap scene, the Compton scene, the Snoop Dogg, it's endless, the people that have come from LA, and it's got, but it's such a, what is amazing about it is the mishmash of genres. But any day of the week, there's some A-list headliner playing, it's just, and the venues are amazing. I was looking up to see Nick Cave play in downtown, and you just kind of, it's just an amazing, there's a whole, music scene that it's phenomenal. And then you've got the Whiskey Go-Go, the clubs that are still new acts are getting to play, and people are coming there, all the time, and the Viper Rooms and all these kind of iconic venues are still there. So it goes on, and but it covers every range of genre. I've been to see the L.A. Phil which played the Disney Concert Hall. They also did played the Return of the Jedi movie in the Hollywood Bowl with the full L.A.
Fabulous.
And you kind of go like this, amazing things like this. So it goes from everything from classical to hip hop to the Beach Boys. It's just, to indie to rock to they've got it all here.
And so tell me, what about the history of LA, which I have to confess I know very little about? So any stories from its past that resonate with you? Any famous people who have come from there?
I think at the base of it is still the Hollywood system. The Hollywood, it's the studio system, and this is where it all comes from. Even now, the Disney, you've got NBC Universal, which has the theme park here in Los Angeles as well. You've got Sony Studios, you've got Amazon, who are now based in the former Columbia Studios, which is in Culver. It's just, you've got that, the history that's been there, how that's built up, and how that's shaped the city as well. So I think that, to me, you've got to come here. When you come here to LA, you've got to go and see the Hollywood sign. You've got to go and look at but while you're up there, you've got to go and see the Griffith Observatory, which is, and that gives you the viewpoint of the whole city, and you'll see how sprawling it is and how massive it is. From one side, it doesn't even show you the Burbank side of the whole of the city as well. Then you get, you've got the Hollywood Star Walk of Fame, the stars, all the people have been laid out there as well. Culver's a kind of relatively new area that's become very trendy, but was where Gone with the Wind was originally filmed, and there's kind of there's always some kind of look back to the cinematic kind of part of the history. The buildings that are being used in downtown, you can go and see where the Blade Runner was, the Broadbury building there. That it's just so iconic everywhere you go. I think that's got to be the basic part of any trip to here as well. And then the theme parks, which come from the studio system as well. You can go the Warner Brothers tour. You can sit on the couch in Friends. You can go to the Central Perk Cafe. You can go to see the Batman kind of stuff they have. The Paramount tour has all the Star Trek stuff as well. Then you go to the Universal, you can go on the rides, you can go to the Harry Potter world there as well. It always seems, and then you've got Disneyland, which is just down in Anaheim, down in Orange County, but it's it's the Disney Studios, and it's just it's a massive theme park with all the Marvel and also the Star Wars stuff there now as well. So, and then you've got the beaches as well. So
yes, I know.
It has every kind of aspect of every type of life, and people and food and culture. It is like. Yeah. It is the melting pot. It does, of course, have its old traditional history as well. When it was, from the Mexican kind of the culture that was here as well. But that's been so open up to every other. Everybody's represented here from all over the world, whether it be Irish, whether it be Korean culture, whether it be the Korean barbecue food scene. It's unbelievable. The Asian food, the taco trucks. Like, this is where they all are. It's all here. So there's nothing that you can find in LA.
And you mentioned the people earlier when you were talking about the differences between there and Ireland. But generally speaking, how do you find the people? Any stories of your encounters with them? I mean, it's funny because I think you sort of mentioned this, and I know it's something that I always think. I always have this image of people who live in LA being exactly like the characters in La La Land, working in cafes and hoping for the break. And is that true, or is that just movie talk?
No, there's lots of that going on. Yeah, of course. As I said to you earlier on, there's people that are always like nearly every second person you meet is some form of connection to the screen industry. Yeah, whether it be from being an actor or being a technician on the sets, or working in the accounts department, or working in it's just hard to be not removed because it's such a huge employer out here. It's absolutely massive. I really warms to people now, and I think it just takes a little bit of time, as in they're not there with open. But I think that's the same in any, as I said earlier on, like New York or London. Like, people are a little bit more reserved, a bit more cautious in a big city like that, and it takes a little bit longer time, and then it becomes. I've made some great friends here, especially in our neighbourhood. We've become very close to people, and what I love is the range of people with so many different backgrounds. And we were friends with Europeans, but local people. It's hard to find just people who've actually born and bred from LA, but now I've even discovered some of them as well.
And Stephen, for anyone listening who's planning a trip, what do you think is the best time of year to visit?
Well, they've got a very nice climate most of the year round, so it's not like they don't have a very, very harsh winter, but it does have a bit more rain, kind of January, February. I think August, September can get very, very hot, especially in the valleys and away from the coast. What's very different than Ireland, that you can drive from 8 miles inland from the coast and it will change by 10 degrees. Like, that range in temperature will kind of be a massive difference. And the more you go in the summer, you get very close to, especially up in Burbank or in the valleys area, it can get very, very, very hot. In Celsius, kind of 40s, and that kind of it can reach that higher in late 30s as well, which is not a comfortable time to be there. But then I always find from the end of February on March, it starts to get warmer. It's really nice. You can do this unbelievable walking around, which I don't even think people would think that you can go to LA and do some walking tours or walking. You've got these amazing, you've got the Will Rogers State Park. You've got the, you can go back and see where they shot the old the Paramount Ranch, which was there where they did the MASH, the TV series. There's this amazing kind of walk, and then the walks that you can do very close to the city centre, the Culver Hills, and then of course the Griffith Park has got the amazing walks, which has been always seen on TV shows and things like that as well. There's some great walking which can be done. But you don't want to be doing that in August when it's 30 plus degrees as well. So so it's kind of, so depending what you're looking for as well. But if you want to sit by a pool and sit by a beach, the summertime is the best time for that kind of side of it. It's a little bit cold at the moment to be sitting by a pool all day, but it's gorgeous. It's like an Irish summer at the moment. Bit of rain, bit of sunshine, but so that's what it feels like at the moment. Yeah.
And tell me then, you mentioned food and the variety that's available, but what would be a typical meal, or is there any such thing? What would you eat if you went out to a restaurant?
It is such a range of cuisines that it's what you're in the mood for. As I said, the Korean barbecue is unbelievable here. There's Koreatown, but it's also not in just the specific areas, that it spreads out. There's a Chinatown part of the city as well. There's the Japanese part of the city. Like, you can get all those kind of specific cuisines and those cultures there, but everywhere you go, every local area, every local neighbourhood has fantastic, variety of food. I personally love Mexican food, and it's the one thing we don't have good in Ireland, from what I've tasted here. So compared to here, where it's phenomenal. I think it's the freshness of the avocados, the freshness of that kind of orange fruits as well. But even the local supermarket you can get fresh tamales, which are made with the corn, and the tacos are just unbelievable. So it's that kind of my favorite is Mexican, but also sushi is unbelievable here as well. The sushi is spectacular. They were my two go-tos, sushi and Mexican, but you've also a lot of European, Italian. There's even the Irish pubs do some great Irish cuisine as well. You can get shepherd's pie and Sunday roast and things like that as well.
Okay. And Stephen, if you had only one day in LA, how would you spend it? What would you see and do? There's so much to see and do, but if you had to distill it down into what are the things that you absolutely should do?
Just get out and get some food would be the first thing to do. I think if you got to see something, I think my personal favourite is Griffith Observatory. I just love going up there, and the Griffith Park. I said you've got the Greek is there. Is if there's a concert you're lucky enough on to get an experience, that sitting amongst the trees in the Greek theatre is just unbelievable. It's an amazing experience. And I think, but going up to Griffith Observatory, you get this viewpoint of the city, and you can look over the whole city and see from the coast as well on clear days, and watch a sunset there. That is 100% must to do. But then I would also say, if you can't get up to Griffith Observatory, go to the beach and sit on the beach and watch the sunset. Go to the boardwalks. Go to Santa Monica Pier. Experience the pier. What's amazing, it's so familiar to see these places as well. If you're a little bit adventurous, get on a surfboard, go and do a skate lesson. There's a roller skate park down in Venice Beach, which I love, the boardwalk along Venice. Go and do a roller skate lesson, or go and just do the skate there. Like, skate up and down the boardwalk, and it's all linked in along the coast as well. You can go down as far as Hermosa Beach, up as far as north Santa Monica. So it's an amazing place. Like, experience the seaside culture as well. But if you want to have a viewpoint in the city up towards Griffith and look over the whole place, well, if you can get in, try and see, there's amazing art house cinemas that show movies on film as well. So grab a cocktail. The cocktails in Los Angeles are unbelievable. They're amazing. Like, a margarita, or a margarita is is probably the favorite. They do spicy margaritas. They do that because tequila is huge as well. But just sitting out and people watch, there's amazing people watching Santa Monica, amazing people watching in Venice Beach. The people going by, but also in the Beverly Hilton Hotel, or go and see some of the sit on Rodeo Drive and go to see the most expensive shops in the world, and people going by. There's just everywhere. There's go into downtown LA and see the cafes and the food cuisine up there. There's an amazing world market in a food market in downtown, and you can take the Angel's Flight, which is in La La Land. You can take the Angel's Flight down from the Disney concert hall down into this part. It's only 100 meters long, but it's a nice experience to see it. And you arrive at this amazing the food market, and every food is represented in there, and you can't. It's spectacular. It's really good. So if you've only got a short time, the food market, so you can try lots of different samples of food and experience some of LA. Yeah.
And then if you had a bit more time, so if you had 3 or 4 days, what would you add to that? Would you advise people to get out of the city?
Well, even getting to Griffith gets you out of the city, and do a walk around the park and up to the top of the hills. Go and walk up to the top. You can't get to the Hollywood side, but you can get to very close to it as well, and you can walk up that way as well. Like getting that, try and see some of the hills and some of the viewpoints. Try and do the Paramount Ranch as well, which Malibu State Park is around that. You get to see these whole other areas, and then you get to see nature, because I think that's one thing I haven't touched on. I expected to become moving to a big city, which not seeing anything. The amount of animals and different things I never thought I'd see. I've seen a badger in the back garden, a skunk. We've a skunk that lives in the local neighbourhood that you could get to smell before you see him. But we've seen him several times, and we'll walk around as well. You see hawks flying through the sky. It's like the sea life as well. Dolphins, whales, are all in the sea as well. If you're even you can even see them from the land. There's a migration pattern that comes along this time of year. They're coming back up from the Mexico Gulf, coming up along by the sea there. So it's the nature side as well. So I've seen hummingbirds in the garden, like coyotes. You see quite often as well. Some are, especially since COVID, one of the things they've kind of arrived, like they'd be like the way with foxes in Ireland, the equivalent of like that as well. So there's rattlesnakes, there's gopher snakes, there's gophers in the parks. Like there is just if you can see some of that part of the nature side as well. It's not just the city. I would think the things you got to try and do is experience downtown and see it for it is. It was one of those lucrative places in the 1920s, and then kind of fell into a much struggling area. But it's still this beautiful Art Deco buildings along the area there as well. I think you got to experience the sea is another day. You got to experience the beaches, the swim pools. You got to do the fancy side of it. Go to you can pay into some of the hotels and use the pay to be just access to the pool. You can go and set up cocktails in one of the rooftop bars, swim in the swimming pool there, experience that kind of high end LA life. You got to go to the music scene around 3rd Street and around Melrose and around Sunset Boulevard, where you got the Whiskey Go-Go's. There's just so much of those places to go out and see, and I think you've got to pick an area in each thing and kind of try and do some of those areas as well. In Hollywood itself, the Hollywood Walk of Fame, the Chinese theatre cinema. There's some really nice little cafes, restaurants. You got to experience the diners, the drive-thrus. There's In-N-Out Burger is one of the institutions here, which we don't have in Ireland.
And because we're all about uncovering hidden gems on this podcast, what would you say would your 3 top picks of things to see or do that you won't ever find in a guidebook?
Little things like there's kind of I think, and I'm sure this is definitely in some of the guidebooks as well, but getting that rooftop bar and having a cocktail and sitting in LA is really important, and is a really nice thing to do. It's just experience that kind of high end LA life as well. Try and get to see some of the shows. Try and be an audience in one of the shows. That's you could apply for tickets for there's different things. There's so many that are being recorded in all the studios around Los Angeles all the time. Try and get onto one of those shows would be one of those things to do. Getting to see a movie premiere or one of the if you can do that. It's and I think the walking bit to kind of see the city as a different level and seeing that nature side to it as well. This is in many guidebooks, but one of my favorite things to do is cycle a bike along the beach tracks. It's just so much fun. Stop and have a drink in a cafe or have some food. The minute you go into any of the restaurants along Venice Beach, there's a band playing outside, there's a musician playing, and these are top amazing buskers, and relax. I think sit down and take some time. Trying to see 10 things in one day, just go to an area and just kind of I'm going to do Venice today, and sit there and relax and get to see the shops, see the people, go and do a surf, go and do a little bit of rent a skateboard for an hour or two and go along the boardwalk as well. There's just
take it as it comes.
If skateboarding's too hard to do, go and watch the skateboarders, because you're going to see some of the most amazing talented people that you'll ever see do on skateboards in your life. So I think someone said to me like the top 10% of people of small towns or villages or around the world come to LA to try and make it, and I think that's what you see, this very very high level of talent and people and musicians and actors and artists and skateboarders all across the coming here to kind of be to be part of that life, and that's what that's what LA is all about, is that melting pot of people and brilliance and food and cuisine and culture. And I think that's just trying to take your time and try and experience some of it wherever you can.
Okay, so now Stephen, we're at our quickfire round. So best way to get around?
Uber.
Okay.
Way to get around, if you're not going to if you're not a confident driver, do not even attempt to drive over here, because the freeways and because the freeways link all the major parts of it, but there are 5, 6, 7 lanes of traffic all like, speeding along and trying to find exits on them alone is a nightmare. But Uber works as an app on your phone. They come within minutes, and they will bring you right to the door of where you ever need to go. Parking is an absolute nightmare yourself. So I would say like that. There is public transport. There is the tram that goes from Santa Monica up to downtown as well. So there is parts like that as well. But I think Uber is just how everybody travels here. Yeah, Ubers or drives. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Yeah. So best place to stay?
It depends where you want to be. So if you want to be by the beach, it's Santa Monica, Venice. If you want to be if you want to do Universal and the studios, and you want to be up by Burbank, Hollywood as well has got a whole culture. If you want to buy, they've got a record scene, there's music and scene. So it's kind of like, it depends on what you want. It's like, so I personally love being by the sea, and I love being by the ocean, and it's a little bit cooler as well, so you don't get the extreme temperatures that you find inland. So I think I would always pick Santa Monica or Venice, like as where I'd like to be. But you'll see some amazing top quality hotels everywhere, from West Hollywood to Hollywood, down to even Culver as well, has with rooftop bars.
Lots of choice.
Yeah, lots and lots of choices. Yeah.
So best photo opportunity.
Oh, sunset by Santa Monica Pier, or the sunset up at Griffith Observatory is it's iconic, and you get the whole city in the background as well. There's the Hollywood Walk of Fame or the Chinese Theatre, but I think for me would be this sunset. The sunsets are spectacular, the reds, the oranges, the glow, and I think if you can be by the those amazing wooden piers that you see, or up by Griffith, you'll get that beautiful crazy city in the background. So yeah,
gorgeous. Best place for a coffee?
Every street corner, they've got some unbelievable coffee shops here. Coffee is of high quality, and you can't walk. It's like a pub in Ireland. You can't walk more than 10 yards without passing a coffee shop. It's there's just everywhere. And there's Mar Vista areas. But sitting down just having a coffee on Venice Beach, or sitting down in Hollywood, or having sitting in downtown having a coffee. As I said, it's just people watching everywhere. Go to the one of the hotels and sit in the areas like that to do sit and have a coffee. You just watch people watch. There's just everywhere you can do it. Yeah. There's one. Are you going to ask me next best food, or?
Well, I am going to ask you that in a minute. I was going to ask you first best place for a drink.
Oh,
one of those cocktails maybe you were talking about.
Okay. Yeah, there's just yet again, there's so many cool bars and stuff as well. But I think getting one of the rooftop terraces and having that view in the background of having a cocktail is quite spectacular. Especially in downtown at night time when the sun sets and you see all the lights and the buildings and stuff going on as well. One of the rooftop bars in downtown for a cocktail, I think, is a really nice treat. Yeah.
And then food. Your favorite restaurant?
As I said, I love Mexican taco trucks. You can sit on you can sit there, you get takeaway. There's restaurants on every street corner as well. But one of my secrets is that I love is the Fig at 5 in the Fairmont, where they do the entire menu. There's happy hours everywhere all the time, and everywhere does happy hours Monday to Friday. Yeah, and then the odd place you can get a Saturday or Sunday as well. But so happy hour is a big thing because that really helps reduce the cost of food and for wine or drinks or like that. But my particular favourite is the Fig at 5, which is a restaurant in the Fairmont. And between 5 and 6 p.m. every day, Monday to Friday, they do a half price menu. So the entire menu is half price. So that's all the cocktails, all the wines, all the food, and the food is spectacular. And you can sit there. So the Fig at 5 would be my secret tip. Yeah.
Okay, that sounds great. So best art or architecture experience?
Oh! You got to go and see the Disney concert hall. The Disney concert hall is a beautiful work of art, and you can kind of walk around the building and get really amazing angles on photo opportunity as well. I think next door to there is you've got the Broad Museum, but then I wouldn't even leave it at that because you've got to go to the Gettys. The Gettys are spectacular. As well. So you've got the Getty Villa, which is amazing, which is just on the edge of Santa Monica, and you got the Getty Museum, which is you take you take a monorail electric tram up to the top, and they're just unbelievable places to wander around for the day and sit and they're spectacular. Yeah.
Okay, so best outdoor experience.
But I think that's the skateboarding or cycling along between Santa Monica and Venice. I think that's the best outdoor experience. Or walking up to Griffith Observatory as well. So I can't give you one answer. I'm terrible.
We won't hold that against you. That's okay. Yeah. Best nighttime entertainment.
Oh, I think one of the comedy clubs, or getting to see a gig, like one of the downtown music venues, or they're just as I said to you, the level of musicians that play here. And I was even lucky enough to see Lisa O'Neill play here one night as well, and I got to see Tommy Tiernan play out here. It's not even just the big American names you can get here. You get everybody from all who are trying to make it over here as well. So you can
spoiled for choice.
Just Google what's happening, what's at your time, or there's an L.A. magazine as well that will kind of give you a heads up on something that's coming up. Yeah, it's just get your tickets early because things sell out. Yeah.
Okay. Now, what about sport?
So we've won. We love the Angels is one of the baseball teams that play there in Anaheim as well, and they do a brilliant deal on a family ticket for $20 and includes a hot dog and a drink for $20, which is one of the deals of the city as well. But of course, you've got the Dodgers, you've got the Rams here, like the Lakers in the baseball, the Clippers in the baseball, or Lakers and the Clippers in the basketball. But the Dodgers are the institution for the baseball in Los Angeles. So there's a lot of sport. Okay. Then you've got the ice hockey as well. It's just. But I think if you can get to see a baseball game, get to see a basketball game. There's soccer as well. The LAFC play here as well.
So tell me, Stephen, we've been talking about the good things. What has been, do you think, your worst experience in LA? Or what should people be wary about if they're visiting?
I think, like many cities of the world, there's a huge homeless crisis here, and I think it's I think it's another level to what you see in other places in Los Angeles. It is it's very tough, and there's a lot of mental health issues, a lot of drug problems in that area. It's not something you see all the time and stuff as well, but you will see it in many places that you go to as well. And I don't think anywhere is excluded from it here in Los Angeles as well. But I think it's very hard to see homeless camps set up underneath bridges and for people who are in need of help.
Okay, so you just need to be prepared for that, I suppose. Yeah. And Stephen, if you had room in your suitcase, what should you buy to bring home?
A good bottle of tequila. It's one of the.
Okay.
That's good.
Yeah.
Sea candies there's a sweet the really good peanut brittle is another thing that we don't get in Ireland to bring home as well. Your movie souvenirs as well is the other side to it as well, and they've got some, if you're into record collection or things like that as well, they've got unbelievable record shops that with really cool vinyl and stuff that we may not have seen as well.
Oh, fantastic!
I think coming the other way, you just need your flip flops, your sunglasses,
and you'll get on just fine. So tell me, what would bring you back to LA if you had to leave, or what would you miss?
I'm going to miss Mexican food terribly. I'm already worried about that already. So I think that's and I think just eating out and the food that you can get here is really. I think it's just the diversity of the cuisine. I think it's really good, and and the sunshine. If I could pocket up the sunshine, and it would be nice to bring back to Ireland. That would be the weather is really good. Yeah, it's a really nice place to live.
And final question, Stephen: if you did have to leave, where would the next best place be?
Wow.
Anything on your bucket list?
Well, see, the one thing I do miss here is I miss Europe, right? And what I find that where we get in Ireland, and don't get me wrong, I'm not naming Ireland as where the next best place, because I do love Ireland. I love going out in Ireland, and I love there's an amazing culture, an amazing scene that we have there. But I think I miss Europe, and I miss. Yes, they've got great cuisines and all that kind of diversity here, but I love being from where we are in Europe, that we can go to. You can spend a few days in Greece, you can go to Spain, you can go to France, you can go to Italy. Like, if you think of the cultures that we have there, the authentic cultures that they are in those places still, it's amazing. Like, think of the city breaks you can do from across Europe as well. LA is very new in a sense. It's got it's been a long time before people settled here and stuff as well. There's a history there with the Native Americans and stuff as well. But I think realistically, a lot of the buildings, a lot of the places are only just over 100 years old. So I think what we have back in Europe is this history of thousands and thousands of years. And I think even in Ireland as well, we have the amazing kind of history going back to the Celts and the times like that as well. And I think that history and that kind of story, the stories that come from that, is amazing. And I think that's where this is very new in a sense, and this is a very different kind of way of looking at things. That this is many cultures are coming here. They don't have that length of history here. Stephen,
it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for being my guest.
No problem. And I would say, yeah, come and see LA. It's a beautiful, sunny place all year round.
I hope you enjoyed my chat with Stephen. LA just sounds like a whole other life, doesn't it? And a big congratulations to all the Oscar nominees and winners for their amazing work. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd love if you'd recommend it to a friend. And remember, to be the first to know when a new episode becomes available, don't forget to hit follow or subscribe. I hope you'll join me next time.